Hi, everyone. Greg Towner here with Parallel Portfolios, and welcome to our 5 charts in 5 minutes for May of 2024. Let's get right into it this month. Well, of course, you're probably aware the market's had quite the run here and just in the last few weeks, and really even just in the last couple of days. After a little bit of volatility recently, the market has surged to a new all-time high, defying a lot of the skeptics, of course. But really, this last volatility that we had was really quite a minor pullback in the scheme of things. I mean, it didn't even, I think it barely maybe got to 5%. Normally, pullbacks are a little bit more significant than that. So maybe there's more to come later this year, but for the time being, the market is quite healthy at the moment, new all-time high. One of the things that make us, liking this market and liking the move in the market is the breadth of the market. I don't want to get too technical in the jargon and all that, but think back to some of the times in the past where we talked about, oh my gosh, there's only these handful of mega cap stocks that are pushing stocks or pushing the market higher. Well, now the breadth is better, meaning more stocks are making new highs, more stocks are participating, smaller caps, international, different areas of the market, not just technology. So that's a great sign of health for the market that yes, some of those bigger companies and bigger stocks are still doing well, but the breadth has expanded. We'd like to see more stocks helping to push the market higher. Well, what are some of the reasons for this market going up? Sometimes it's hard to know the reasons because it just likes to defy all the negative people out there. But there's no question some reasons that are helping the market. This is a chart that looks at the historical earnings beat quarter, each quarter. We just are wrapping up the quarterly announcements for the first quarter. And you can see here this orange line here. Basically, it exceeded the average number of companies beating earnings expectations. Now, we all know that it's kind of a game where they set the earnings and, enough to beat it. But nonetheless, they're beating guidance. The comments are good, not great. They're not like pounding the table that, oh my gosh, things are incredible. I think they're trying to be a little bit cautious in their statements. But most often than not, they're beating and keeping their guidance in line, if maybe even raising it a little bit. So earnings have been a little bit of a catalyst for the market. Well, of course, we can't go a video, it seems like, without talking about inflation. And we just yesterday, as we record this, had the latest inflation number. Came in, just a little bit better than expected, more or less in line, but it was down from the previous month. So you could just see a slight tick down, really not much to speak of, really kind of stabling out, as we talked about, kind of ultimately settling in this roughly 3% area, perhaps. Some of the underlying data looked good. It gave some of this, signs that maybe there's a little bit more downside in this in the months ahead. And I think that's why the market, kind of surged on the day that data came out, the CPI, because it's, maybe the Fed will almost certainly be done raising rates, and maybe they're going to start looking to cutting rates later in the summer, early in the fall, perhaps. Well, if we talk about inflation a lot, it seems like the other thing we talk about a lot this year is the upcoming election. Really like this chart here. This looks at a very long-term history of the stock market. This dark line here is the S&P 500. And each period of presidency is coded by their representative colors. And so you can see that there's, by and large, the market goes up over time. The presidency, some, periods of blue are good and not good. Some are red are good and not good. There's really not a lot of rhyme or reason. As the year goes on, we'll show you more data, show you more charts to dig into it a little bit more. But for the most part, as we've been saying, there's just not a lot to go by from an election standpoint in regards to the market. Maybe as you drill down into some of the sectors and sub-industries and all of that, there's a little bit of things there, often contrarian to what people think, by the way. We'll touch on that as the year goes on. But for the most part, you can probably ignore it all. Well, stocks are hitting a new all-time highs. The earnings are healthy. The economy is certainly healthy. Inflation, still, not ideal, but it's moderating significantly. And of course, ignore the noise. We say this all the time, just, the media and the doom and gloom, but particularly in this year, just that much more important. So we appreciate you joining us. If there's anything we can help you with, please don't hesitate to give us a call. Thank you.